Hello everyone and welcome to the part 5 playthrough of the Noble Nemesis. This is the final part of this playthrough and we'll be fighting the king, the final boss, in the end of the month 5. In this map version he was supposed to have a Sleepkeeper and a Pendant of Dispassion in his possession, but ended up removing both of them. I think it would be ultimately very disappointing if I just used the blind to defeat him. There is an orb of vulnerability on this map, and I would be able to use blind even if he didn't remove the items, but in later version he has the power of the Dragon Father, giving him effectively a complete mind spell immunity, and so I decided to fight him without using mind spells. Also to showcase a very interesting strategy that helped me several times in my past playthroughs. As a bonus, I also added a fight against the king if he had a power of the Dragon Father. Hope you will enjoy these fights, but first we need to fight to finish the preparations and to get the king into the position. Anyway, it's time to reach Mr. Noble a lesson that the real Nemesis is Tazar and not mathematics. Let's get into the game. I'm building up Pegasi in the rampart for the fight against the king. Pegasi are useful in drawn-out fights to help drain enemy mana. And before that I also hired Magi for the similar purpose, but instead they will help me save my mana in prolonged fights, and a fight against the king is one of such fights. Splitting the army here, I intend to send Tazar on his mission to get more boosts. I think he might as well go and take one of the sea temples, and Stig will also do some useful things. If I recall correctly, she'll go and fetch a thunder helmet. The helmet gives the maximum knowledge. Perfect item for my needs. Will make it easier to max out my spell points. That's actually funny. 45 quartals dealt 90 damage to a dragon. That's not... that's actually even less than I expected. Much less. That's an average of 2 damage points per quartal. Kind of actually hilarious. So Tazar gained Titan's Gladius. As I mentioned, it's a very, very useful artifact. forgot to pass green boots to Stig. And she doesn't have an admiral's hat, so it doesn't make sense to send her to the right side as well. But it's not that great of a distance to cover, so she actually even reached unicorns the same day, despite rough ground. Yeah, okay, I think I did check heroes that were gone with other players, and I found this beautiful fella with an admiral's hat, no less. Basically, that's the only reason why I would actually even hire anyone at this point. And it's a nice addition. I already have one, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's still useful. Okay, I think I know what am I preparing here. I want to send Tazar to fetch an Armageddon's blade, but to do that he'll need a few artifacts from my heroes, and there is also a black market that has a head of legion, which I could have bought way earlier. Maybe rather blind a stack that is next to Archdevils. Yeah, this one. And focus on killing Archdevils. Yeah, you do it with Wyverns. Yeah, this way is best. No one is reached. And next turn, perhaps haste Gorgons? And or maybe even lizards to just have them move away from devils. If Stick has prayer, that would be maybe even easier. Oh, okay, interesting. So I'm gonna take a hit, but what they actually almost killed them. Anyway, it's not something to spend time discussing. Okay, maybe I should actually bring the devils down a little bit. Previous fight did not. Previous hit by Gorgons actually did not kill entire stack. So they are likely to retaliate. Maybe I can take a remove retaliation with Azure Dragons. That would be ideal. Or although she has fire magic. That's right. That's right. She has fire magic, so I didn't have to do that. Even more so, I shouldn't have done it. Because if I hit with Azure Dragons, the devils would not be blinded when Wyverns hit, and then they would actually retaliate to them. So it would be a big mistake. Now that's solid reinforcements. Almost as many Gorgons as I have in my army. And I already have a very decent number. Maybe I should have actually taken +1 attack there. And I could pick this, or maybe actually no. Yeah, maybe. I thought that I will go through this oasis next to the factory town. But I will actually go to the underground this time. So it would be a little bit of a time waste to visit it. Just a quick stop to get experience boost and also refresh the movement boost availability now. Tazar can still trigger all boosts again. Yeah, I shouldn't give her a fairy dragon because of the movement penalty. Speed is better. Okay, I will send Stick to take a conflicts town in the left bottom corner. And I don't know why would I need it. At this point, it's of no use to me. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's of some use theoretically. It's another town in left bottom corner. Right now, I have to basically, if I want to go there, I have to go to my probably third fortress town and then go some distance on the land and summon boat and sail for a lot. Or I could go from the first town and then I have to go on the land for a much longer time. So it's way more efficient if I can use that town instead. The problem is I don't really even have to go there at any point. Okay, I'll just double check the artifacts. Make sure that I have all the items I need. Okay, there, I forgot to pass a pendant of free will, I think. Didn't notice it. And there we go. And I think that's it. So, in order to get to the Armageddon's blade, I will also need a couple of dragons. So I brought a fairy dragon with me. And I will take this dwelling to get a crystal dragon, and there is also a rust dragon dwelling not far from here that we'll also take. And I need these 3 dragons to get to the blade. Now you may notice that dragons can breath fire the gorgons, but I'm not concerned about it because they will most definitely attack dragons or an ammo card, simply because they're very scared of retaliation. They could also maybe hit hydras, but they were scared for the very same reason, basically. The fact that they broke my ammo card is although extremely disheartening. I won't be able to forgive them for this. Okay, I actually could have skipped the dwelling there altogether. Just could have taken this box. Didn't realize that. So I will need to bring 3 dragons, so basically I want to free enough space for Tazar to carry them. That's why I freed one extra slot for a Rust Dragon later. Okay, there is also a scroll of fire protection behind the column. It is required to get to the Armageddon's blade. It's kind of a hidden thing there, so something you may miss. Okay, it's actually a mistake, yeah. There we go, we got a Statue of Legion. So we'll get some use of it. Those our stats get nicer and nicer. And by the way, just for the reference, remember there was a fight against Coatls when 44 Coatls dealt like 90 damage on my Azure Dragons? So averaging 2 damage per Coatl. Now Archangels dealt, well, I didn't check, but if you looked at the health bar of the dragons, they probably dealt around 10 damage per Archangel. Kind of much better actually, if you think about it. Okay, I didn't take the scroll, did I? Yeah, I didn't. In some of my earlier parts, I think I mentioned a unit, Necropolis unit, that I will be using. And this unity is actually Ghost Dragons. So I will use them against the King. Well, probably not the way you think I will be using them. But you can guess. That's interesting if you can guess correctly why I will be using them. But to be honest, they're not the only unit I could use for that, so they just worked out maybe a little bit better than some others for multiple reasons. Okay, now basically I have almost everything, really. A Shield of Lion's Courage was a very nice addition to my artifacts, and also there is a Library of Enlightenment on the left side. Okay, pink just sailed by stick. That's not the king. However, that much is clear. Okay, so the Dracon now actually is here to bait the king. I gave him some army, hoping that he will incentivize the king to chase him. So the king doesn't have an admiral's hat, but he has a water walk, so you want to be a little bit careful. He also has a very respectable speed on both water and land, so you need to be a little bit careful doing that, and spoiler alert, it won't work, unfortunately. So for some reason king did not show any interest to my attempts. The king is probably the one on water there. There is also a Horn of the Abyss on the same island as the Armageddon's blade, but on the left side symmetrically. It's a bit longer way to get it though. It will take some hustling, for sure. Some creature swaps, juggling, etc., etc. But I don't like the artifact, and actually didn't really even consider using it. Okay, I split my dragons for Ifrits so that they would be hitting the dragons, and the split guarantees, well, first that dragons will be hitting weaker and won't be getting much fire shield damage, and also 4 stacks will get 4 times more damage, health, right? So they do split damage. I don't want to be using my melee stacks in this fight, unless I have to. Yeah, I'll do the same split. There is no fire shield here, but still lots of easy targets for phoenixes. They're hitting lizards, that's annoying. Definitely didn't want that to happen. The morale is funny though. But it's regardless of morale, it's an easy fight. So I'm gonna block my Gorgons now, don't I? That would be hilarious, actually. Okay, fortunately, these 62 Phoenixes did not have an instinct to survive. But actually, I should have hit the bottom 2 Phoenix stacks with Hydras, maybe. Maybe I should move a dragon next to lizards. Not there, maybe, but that's fine place, but I probably would be better off just setting it like a couple of tiles away, so that Phoenixes could block and attack dragons. And last fight. These fights are pretty easy. They killed 49 lizard warriors. Crazy strong, aren't they? There is the king. Let's wave him a hand and maybe comes. Check us out. He won't. He will find some, I don't know, shiny thing somewhere. So at this point I really just want some, like any pink hero to come and take one of my towns. Maybe, I don't know, well, I'll talk about it. I think there will be one pink hero that I will actually prevent from taking my town. We'll see. Maybe it would be actually even easier fight in that town. I'm not sure. Okay, so he wants to double his mana, of course, because right now he maybe has like 1500 spell points. It's been some time since he doubled his mana. And, well, obviously he doesn't want me to fight him unless he has 2000, that's clear. Easy, Armageddon's blade. Now we are ready to fight the king if he had a power of the dragon father. It might be useful actually even against him if he doesn't have it. He might still cast Armageddon under certain circumstances, and I think he might actually end up doing it. We'll see. So now I will use Tazar also. Maybe Tazar is more attractive to the king. I don't know what's his taste there. Maybe should try some lady as well. Okay, that's also a good opportunity to get morale boosts, for morale and luck boosts for Tazar for an upcoming fight against the king. My intention is to max out my morale and luck, because I just don't have enough damage output to be really confident in my ability to finish the fight fast enough, and I will have limited time to do that because of my past mistakes, or let's say not mistakes necessarily, but things that I did not do before that. So I wanna send Gunnar now, put him into the boat. Well, I want it, but the king now is gone, so... Well, maybe I will send Frederick now. So I want any pink hero to come and take one of my stronghold towns. So maybe this fella will venture a visit into my territory there. Frederick is gonna be a welcoming host. And Tazar is getting pumped. He's working out, getting ready to for an ultimate challenge, and also +1 defense. There are some stat boosts as well, just basically more or less killing time with Tazar at this point. Waiting for some AI activity. Now, one big problem with my play so far is that I don't have alternative heroes really at this point. Other heroes who could handle secondary pink heroes. My other heroes are just a little bit too far behind in stats and will struggle. So this courage lady, if I have to fight her, I will have to fight her with Tazar, unfortunately, and his morale boosts will be all gone. Okay, there are a few pink heroes in the underground, like the ones I defeated in the beginning. So this fella did not really budge. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have flagged the Gorgons. For some reason, like the king before that came nearly to one of my strongholds, almost hugged it, but did not capture, and went all the way to take the frigging Gorgon dwellings to the north of it, and then just gone. I don't know. This AI has some fetish for Gorgons. Just ready to basically ignore everything. In favor of taking any of these dwellings. That's kind of actually extremely impressive. Okay, it's a little bit dangerous, so that pink hero in the top left corner is likely the king. And I don't want to leave Tazar in the boat. Okay, time to hire archdevils as well. I'm getting readier and readier. Getting more ready, you could say, maybe more prepared for the king. And getting more units for the upcoming fight. So I did embark Frederick. He's now a bait for the king. Okay, then he goes to take nothing. The king is just ridiculous. I don't know, maybe he has some resource on that island, I don't know. So this pink hero, we'll have to bring Tazar back home, unfortunately, to get rid of him. So Tazar could have visited maybe a couple of stat boosts there, if not for this terrible person. Hero AI. Being very inconsiderate of Tazar's time there. She has a cloak of what I don't remember. The one that takes away spellcasts levels 3 to 5 spells. So it's basically no resurrection here. More or less eliminates an ability to use secondary heroes against her. Okay, now Tazar will have to do all the morale boosts again. Thank you. Okay, thank you, AI. Well, at least Tazar will get to see all those nice places again. The temple, the beautiful watering hole. He's on a vacation there. There is this fella, maybe a little bit of a undesirable part of a vacation landscape, you could say. Maybe Tazar will have to pack up and leave. Okay, Frederick, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's worth actually disembarking him. Okay, I put him there. I thought that maybe it would make sense to move him back, to disembark maybe the same place, maybe to the south. Hopefully, maybe this hero would actually use water walk to reach, or to attempt reaching him. And once he is on the continent, maybe I can bait him with another hero. That's one option at least. Or I could as well just take those Gorgon dwellings. And this way just, I think, an entire pink hero roster would come in a few days. That would be the most efficient way. Yeah, I don't know. Does he go there to visit a water mill? Is it really true? Okay, I'm pulling an ace out of my sleeve now and actually taking the Gorgons. As we now figured out the biggest motivation for AI to come anywhere. Maybe apart from watermill though. Watermills are also possibly uncontested leaders. Where did you go, buddy? Just come back. You know, I'll forgive you for any transgression you committed in the past. If you just come and take one of my towns, okay? That's all I ask, really. Tazar, I think, already visited even probably more boosts than he did before that. So he's once again ready to rumble. Unfortunately, he's still ignored. Maybe should do some work. I don't know. It's not easy to you know, attract attention of a noble, as you can see. They're busy doing noble things like attending water mills. Gathering taxes, perhaps? I don't know. Dude, these pink heroes are annoying. Shouldn't really bother with the boars. Oh man, okay. Okay, he disembarked. Good boy. And Frederick did his devious job there. Okay, now I need to make sure. Why did he disembark there? Couldn't he pick a better place? I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, Luna will do the. I will be a second welcoming host for our good friend Pink Hero. No, I mean that's my best friend. If you don't know, that's kind of a criteria for which I judge people is if they do and take the bait, then they're my best buddy from now on. And well, that's obviously also applies to AI. I'm not someone to discriminate against AI in such important matters. Okay, now actually a sensible thing to end a week on a stables with Tazar. Okay, I didn't actually notice where... Oh man, Pink Hero actually goes where I wanted to go. That's very, very nice. Okay, I need to remove the army though from the stronghold now. Because, I mean, I actually need it. You may be surprised to hear that. Could be shocking news for some. Okay. The big day is coming. Tazar will bravely command retreat. Very, very bravely. You don't underestimate how brave it is. Retreat and abandon everyone who cannot retreat, like Luna, for example. I mean, well, everyone for themselves when retreat is commanded. Okay, so I think I should actually go with the army. I should actually prepare for the fight right away. Get my mana doubled and got the mages. Could have grabbed a few more actually. So the watering place next to Tazar's town is actually very nice. It's far enough that enemy can't reach him from the town, but it's also close enough for Tazar to reach. Ideal place to wait for the king. Okay, unfortunately, he didn't stay, and the reason why he didn't is me being stupid, okay? Very, very obvious mistake here. I should have, as I said, actually grabbed the army with Tazar. And if he had his entire army with him, AI would actually be very, very respective. Well, would respect his presence there, and the king would actually stay in the town. Now, it's not very difficult to fix. We just need to give him the army, and then I actually didn't bring Pegasi yet. I need to bring Pegasi, silver Pegasi, more precisely. And Dessa has units that I won't need. I wish I could use Gorgons there. That might have been fun, but unfortunately, they just don't work very well there. Or didn't work for me. I didn't really try that much using them. The fights like this are actually very much a puzzle to fit as many useful units as you can, and there is just not enough space for all of them, so you have to choose. Okay, now Tazar should be a threat enough, and hopefully Might as well will get the hell out of there so that I don't have to fight him before the king. And the king will actually go and take his place, okay? It's actually a day 2, so I should be concerned. Watermill is not visited yet. Probably. Maybe it was first thing he did day 1, that's possible. Maybe it will save my plan. The devotion of the king to visit windmill on day 1, that could save me. A few words about this poor fella. He has almost all spells in the spellbook. On one hand, theoretically, he can cast anything, including some of the more annoying spells. On another hand, it's an AI, and it has tendencies to cast all the wrong spells under the right conditions. He seems to carry only a few stacks with him, for the most part. Starts with Titans, Archangels and Gold Dragons, and then adds some more. He seems to like Champions, Unicorns and Griffins. That's 6 stacks, by the way. It's important to fight him when he has 7 stacks, which is why it's safer to fight him in one of your towns. Don't hire anything before you give it away, and he'll surely hire something there for a garrison, and then if you attack him, he'll join the armies and end up with 7 stacks. If you don't achieve that, he ends up splitting the Titans, and for this strategy it's a lights out and a good game. Remember, force 7 stacks to avoid the Titan split. Okay, let's discuss the tactics I'm trying to make it work here. As with most siege combats, it relies on AI not exceeding the walls. In this case though, we can't blind his Titans. Theoretically, we could try draining his shots with summons and then go for some clone Hydras or Gargons behind walls. The problem is that he has a lot of mana, and he'll fill the castle with summons long before we get anything done. An overcrowded castle will lead to some units exiting just to free space, and if it happens, all hell will break loose and result in a defeat. It's just too slow. In this case, we'll try to leverage our own shooters to destroy the summons to avoid overcrowding the castle. Summons are also very mana consuming, and it will help us drain his mana, and summon spam is one of the favorite things for AI to do. However, we have some weak shooters and he has a large number of titans that we need to deal with. For that, we use Pegasi and Ghosties to block the titans at the very last moment before they take a turn. This way they can't shoot, but when dragons or archangels later take a turn, they see no attackers inside the castle walls, and AI still has an overwhelming shooter advantage and therefore will not leave the walls. That's basically the idea. The implementation, however, is a bit more complicated. To perform the well-timed block, we need to have units with the right speed. His titans start with speed 13 and end up with speed 17 after he casts Prayer. His next faster unit is gold dragons who have speed 18. So ideally we want a 17 speed unit to set up the block to make sure that it always takes the turn right before the titans. I brought Ghosties here for that exact reason. Also, my intention was to use them to take tower fire after archdevils, but unfortunately AI didn't like that idea. Another reason to bring Ghosties here is to bring AI's morale down. I need his morale to be exactly neutral, and having Ghosties frees an artifact slot for me. The first attempt actually shows why going negative morale is also very bad. If gold dragons end up mismoraling, it means that titans will have a turn order priority over ghost dragons who have the same speed after the prayer, and titans will be able to take a shot as a result. It's different if gold dragons don't miss their turn. Needless to say, positive morale is also unacceptable because titans may hit it and shoot right after removing the blocker. So remember, only neutral morale for the enemy. There are also a couple of spells that can mess up the turn order, namely Slow and Haste. The king doesn't cast either of them, fortunately, but it's important to be smart with positioning to achieve that. To avoid the slow, make sure to put your flyers closer to the enemies. Just make sure that even if they are slowed, they can reach any valuable unit, and AI will be very unlikely to cast this spell. Haste is also a very low priority here because it doesn't enable any more attacks for AI or make titans move before my shooters, they already do that. So from AI's perspective, there is also very little value in that spell. The second attempt shows an interesting problem I faced with this enemy. It involves a teleport spell. While waiting for it to happen, let's go over the purposes of the units I brought here. First we have Lizard Warriors, who are, funny enough, my strongest shooter. Well, yeah, that's the life of Fortress. Pegasi are here to do two things. So they make spells more expensive for the enemy, and he, as you can see, has a lot of spell points. And second reason is that they are performing a blocking role on the titans. They have right speed to perform the initial block, to move them next to the titans. The Hydras are here to confront any units that will at some point exit the castle. Archdevil's role is pretty simple. They are a punching bag for castle towers. They will be standing still and taking shots. That's all they need to be doing. The Ghost Dragons are here to enable the blocks later on. They do have the speed 17, as I mentioned, and so I need them to resurrect Pegasi every turn after that. Sorceresses are here to apply Disrupting Ray, and also they'll do some damage. Disrupting Ray is useful to help grind down defenses and make enemy units softer for Lizard Warriors, but also that has a very interesting implication for the strategy in general in regards to the sacrifice, and I will explain it a bit later when we come across AI actually using it. And the last is Magi, and they're here purely to save me a little bit of mana on my spellcasts, nothing else. As you can see, at some point AI would randomly teleport titans outside to hit archdevils in melee. It would also do the same to hit lizard warriors, but generally much later into the fight. To address the archdevil hit, I figured that I need to make titans weaker by disrupting Ray of my sorceresses. If their defense is sufficiently low, they will get a lot of damage from my hydras if they are outside, and it will help deterring AI from using a teleport on them. Hydra's positioning is also very important. They need to be reaching everything outside of the castle, even if they are slowed. Later I'll show you a couple of examples demonstrating clearly how important this deterrence is. Although, to be honest, it might be needed first and foremost because I have hydras, and AI desperately tries to space out its units to avoid any potential multi-hits from them. Generally, it's not so eager to leave the castle walls, but if you have multi-hit units like hydras or dragons, it tries to make more space for itself, and it may become a bit more difficult to keep AI inside. And that's a third attempt, and it's gonna demonstrate another challenge I face here, and that's my very weak shooters. And they just don't deal enough damage. That's why I was so desperately trying to get any attack points I could get in the lead up to the fight. Ideally, you want your shooters to deal enough damage to reliably kill summons and still deal some damage to the main units at the same turn. Sometimes in this fight I have to use all of my shots to kill a summon, which is not great. If AI just sticks with a summon spam, I'm stuck killing the summons without any progress. I'm trying to still dish out some damage. For example, you could see it in the previous attempt as well, but in this one it's also gonna happen. I leave out more damage summons for mages to finish off, but it's very risky. Also, my high morale helps, but my time in this fight is limited by the number of archdevils I have. As soon as towers deal with them, they'll switch to some other units, and depending on that choice, it may mean different things. If it switches to ghosties, it means that as soon as they're gone, I lose the fight, because I won't be able to apply to resurrect the block. And but at least I'll still have time to fight at my full capacity before my ghosties are gone. And if it switches to one of the shooters, it will deteriorate my ability to cause damage or apply debuffs, and at some point I may be unable to keep up with the summon spam. So as you can see, he summons. If I get luck, that's good. And it hurts to see how sometimes I need to basically both of my units to shoot at the summon to kill it. It's worth mentioning that if the enemy had a real mind immunity here, he would not be able to cast Frenzy like he does here. So it helps a little bit. But I'll show you the fight against Power of the Dragon later. In that fight, he obviously has mind immunity. So as you can see, I'm trying to actually find some attack pattern, debuff pattern, the way I apply Disrupting Ray here, at which he actually doesn't summon that much. Because I realized that summon is not really great, and here you see he casts Implosion. I was not able to find a way to completely stop him from doing that. So he actually, every time he would cast it one time on Archdevils. Not clear why he does, it's very late into the combat. But as you can see, it actually brought the number very low, and it means that my time is very short, and I have to rush, right? So every summon that is right now is alive, it's either I spend another full turn on killing it, wasting my valuable time, and or I risk not killing it in time. And so yeah, that's basically a demonstration of my problem with shooters, and it's gonna have a quite hilarious ending on top of that. So there are 26 fire elementals there. I just decided that I don't want to spend a full shot on them, and I want to finish them with mages. Well, we'll see how it ends. So far so good. And as you can see, ghosties actually serve a secondary punching back role. But as you can see, the 12 fire elementals are still alive. And there we go. So I could have killed them with lizards, the 7 elemental. But now, well, I didn't, and as you can see, I cannot raise Pegasi anymore because they blocked the body. And that's one way it could end. There are some other ways. I mean, obviously, if there are just too many of them, some flyers could start moving out, like griffins, for example. And here I make an adjustment. So we've seen some AI behavior patterns, and that's the changes to my final loadout. In all of my attempts I was very far from draining his mana, and naturally the fact that I have a very limited number of Archdevils, and he has almost 2000 spell points, means that I can't drain his mana by playing the same pattern. It led me to try a little bit of different composition, and I got rid of mages in favor of extra Pegasi stack to cast one more spell. And that will be a bless to address my lack of damage issues. So with under Bless, Lizard Warriors should be dealing with any summons fairly reliably. And then I at least can continue applying debuffs with sorceresses, and also they will be dealing a little bit of damage. Another option was to split sorceresses to double the disrupting ray instead of a second cast. I actually tried it before all of the attempts in this video and found out that reducing enemy defense fast would lead to early sacrifice casts, and back then I did not manage to control the flow of the battle very well. I think it can still work, but at that point I decided that for my weak shooters it's better if I take it a little bit slower to have easier time with the control of the battlefield. However, it's not yet over. We just got over the basics, but there is another challenge. AI has a sacrifice spell, as I mentioned, and it ends up sacrificing less valuable units for more valuable units. Well, in general, AI clearly takes creature stats into account. So, for example, if we apply many disrupting rays to a unit, its defense gets lower, and AI is very unlikely at some point to raise it, and very likely to sacrifice it instead. For some reason, and don't ask me why, AI also thinks that Titans are less valuable even without many debuffs. And I kid you not, it loves sacrificing them even in favor of Griffins. The bad news is that if they are sacrificed, it's basically over. Flyers will leave the castle, and unless you manage to kill enough of them by that point, you'll lose. Okay, so that's basically what I meant. AI sacrifice Titans. And here are a couple of examples of reasons why positioning matters. Okay, so here Hydras are pulled back a little bit. And I blocked the upper side, interestingly, as you can see, with a couple of units. And it left space for Griffins to move out, and well, they did. And here's another option. Well, as you can see, there is a little bit of a space that Hydras do not reach to, and AI even puts on the mode, Griffins on the mode. In general, as I said, AI is not keen to space its units this hard, but I think it's influenced by the fact that I have Hydras, so you should have a bit of an easier time if you don't have Hydras and have maybe a different brawler unit. Okay, and basically that's my final and successful attempt, implementing necessary adjustments, and I'll try to explain whatever I missed so far. So in general, I want to control the sacrifice casts, and I don't want to... Well, first I want to decrease defense of Titans to avoid initial teleport to hit Archdevils. As I mentioned in one of my previous attempts. But as I've shown in the previous attempt, I don't want to go too low on their defense. So I want to have them sufficiently strong still. And I think it should be maybe like one extra debuff or something like that. After that, I want to focus on debuffing units and then killing them. So I don't want to be hitting griffins, for example, with my lizard warriors unless they have relatively low defense. And I basically want to focus on killing units with sufficient debuffs, okay? And in my mind, Titans are actually like a top priority to sacrifice. So I want to be avoiding any damage to any significant damage, obviously, not like just any. So I'm debuffing unicorns, actively debuffing, and I also attack them, right? So the idea is that it will lead AI to more likely sacrificing them instead of sacrificing for them. And also, fortunately, he does cast some summons, so I will have some other targets for lizards to hit. Frenzy is a little bit of a bait, I think. Hitting griffins is somewhat dangerous, I would say. Unless they're debuffed. But I don't think I debuffed them much just yet, so it's actually still dangerous, I would say, but maybe less so with every debuff. One more thing I did not mention, 7th stack in his army in my game is actually a very lucky one, so that's elementals. He cannot sacrifice them, most importantly. And that's great news, but you can live with any stack, really. In my first test attempts, when I just was trying out the strategy more or less, he had dwarves in his army, and it's still doable with them. So at this point I did not yet focus my attacks on archangels or golden dragons, because I mean I basically decided that it's not worth it. Other units would be sacrificed for them, and it would not really help. So at this point I move my hydras back, because in previous attempts, somewhere around this time, AI would actually teleport titans outside to hit lizard warriors. And at this point I also dealt with 2 of his stacks. So we got rid of griffins and unicorns, so it's a little less crowded than in the beginning. So it's less likely that he's actually gonna leave the castle walls at this point. And as you can see, it works a little bit differently now. In my previous attempts, towers would shoot at dragons at this point. But now they decided to shoot sorceresses, and it's honestly, it's a little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping that dragons would be a priority, and since they hit sorceresses, it means that I have a relatively limited time now to prepare the battlefield, basically. I'm debuffing Archangels to make sure that they are not resurrected by an upcoming Titan sacrifice. And I'm trying to damage dragons less for the same reason. Right now, AI's best sacrifice option for Titans are champions. They have defense comparable to Archangels after multiple disrupting rays, and possibly even more than those. And there is a lot to resurrect in champion stack, so it's higher efficiency of the sacrifice. Have to do something decisive, actually. My sorceresses are near end of their life, and at this point, when I lose them, if he keeps summoning, I just cannot progress anymore, because I just have to kill summons. Or maybe I should just forget about summons at this point, and basically go all in on trying to kill him. Basically last shot left, and it's not gonna reduce anyone's defense. Okay, now it's turn of Ghost Dragons. And he sacrificed Titans for Cavalry, for Champions, so that's basically best I could have hoped. right? Okay, so he starts casting Implosion. That's not good news, and I obviously need to protect from it, and he casts Dispel. That's unfortunate. I don't like it. Okay, so if he does cast this, it doesn't really work well for my effort here. So I need to press the issue here. He's gonna Impel now. Okay, he does even Armageddon. So that's bad. So at this point I almost panic. We are not out of the woods just yet. And anti-magic, as you can see, doesn't achieve anything. So I have to press the issue, and one way to press the issue is to break the walls. So I have to basically engage the remaining units in combat. At this point, AI probably thinks that his spells are Armageddon or whatever spells are more efficient, especially on my shooters, right? So if he kills my shooters, he can win the fight. He doesn't count Hydras, right? And now that I broke the walls, as you can see, he changes his casting pattern instantly. Now he's more concerned of my Hydras because they are in combat now. And also, since they are in combat, I will be killing more elementals. And this way he's gonna be have an incentive to summon more as well. So that's basically my why I should press the issue. This way he will be summoning more instead of casting Armageddon, Implosion, whatever. So far I want to keep magic elementals alive, like a few of them. They have a no retaliation thing, so basically as long as I keep them alive, I can like do whatever, right? I won't be accidentally winning this fight. I also try to avoid extra hits with my Hydras, but honestly I think it's like in hindsight, more or less, it was a wrong decision. So he actually also wants to avoid being hit by Hydras, and it does affect his spellcasts and in general his behavior. So far though, it works very well. For the most part he casts summons. That's kind of the best cast I can hope for. At this point maybe I should have raised the lizards. Okay, I don't. And maybe that's gonna be a thing that I will regret actually at some point. Well, I will. Maybe not this. You'll see. You'll see. And maybe you can already guess why I will regret it. There we go. Okay, so I just accidentally killed them as a retaliation to water elementals. And now I don't have this safety of an enemy unit having no retaliation, so I actually have to keep at least one of the elementals alive for a relatively long time. And well, let's see, it's not gonna be very difficult, but it's at least somewhat tricky as well. He's gonna be, you will see, he's gonna be trying very hard to annoy me. But at least the very fact of AI not wanting to die at least prevents it from hasting the only elemental, right, for the ultimate death and defeat. But that would mean I did not raise basically anything except for Hydras. Okay, I did raise Hydras at this point. But worst part is probably that, as you can see, his mana consumption got very far down, right? He casts slow very consistently. And if I continue casting Cure or like Haste, it's basically equal mana spending. And I want him to summon instead of casting slow, so that's very unfortunate. So if I had to fix something, I would. I mean, if I wanted to fix this issue, I would probably be a little bit more daring, let's say. I would not really care very much about his elementals, new elementals, hitting my Hydras in the previous part, and maybe also raise Lizard Warriors for magic elementals to play around. So kind of that would be my idea there for improvement. But ultimately, his mana is already very low, so even if he casts slow or remaining part of the combat, it's not gonna help him. He's actually, that's very important as well right now. So he has 12 mana. And he is gonna have, at some point, he's gonna have only teleport to cast. And I'm very much concerned about this happening. And there we go, that's the moment. So he has teleport. And basically I wanna make sure that he doesn't get wrecked by Hydras. And I raise lizards for him to do that. To hit them, basically. So that was actually last, probably landmine, and now he's out of mana, and finally we are basically gonna just resurrect our fallen warriors, and well, we need to make sure that these elementals do not get wrecked. I will move Hydras further away and maybe apply haste on lizards, or maybe don't have to. As long as they can kite the elementals, it's perfectly fine to have them without haste. So I basically want to just have one kite and move all the rest units further away from elementals. so that they would stick to my to the assigned kite. And I want to basically, for just to make it a little bit simpler for myself, I will use archdevils as a kite. I won't be raising Pegasi and Ghost Dragons. I don't have any mate dead to raise Ghost Dragons. And well, obviously I don't care about a handful of Pegasi as well. So basically we are almost done with resurrecting. There we go. A pretty tough fight, and took some time to figure out the AI behavior, more or less. And that's a loadout. You can wind it back a little bit if you want to study it. So a few things I need to mention. That's a fight against the same hero, but he has power of the Dragon Father. And I changed my items. Just again, wind back if you want to study it. I also hired more units. And one very important thing. So I won't be able to cast Bless in this fight. I'll explain why. And I would need like a larger shooter army, possibly, to do it. So what I did is I replaced luck skill on Tazar with archery, basically to imitate me having a larger army, more or less. So if you play it, you will possibly have a larger army yourself. All you need to your shooters be able to do is to reliably kill summons, and that's it. So count of summons will not grow very much. As like for example, his army might become larger like 2 times in a few more months, right? But number of summons he raises will not be. It's gonna be the same basically. So you can actually just wait a little bit of time if you want, or you might as well have stronger shooters than what I have. As you can see, I brought friggin' Goks. Okay, let's explain a few things. So what I brought a Cape of Silence here. It disables spells level 1 and 2. So it basically protects me against a bunch of annoying debuffs that he might apply, including slow, most importantly. Here I use Quattles as a blocker, and as a creature I would apply a block on Titans, and also have Archdevils to apply the block. So basically I still have one extra spellcast with a second Quattle, which I won't be using. One other thing, I equipped Armageddon's Blade here to make sure that he doesn't cast Armageddon. And because he has the power of the Dragon Father, it's almost certain that he would cast it. What else? I mean, I hired more units. I just found out that I had a few. I didn't hire 1 week growth of Archdevils, for example, in my normal attempts. That's just like, as you understand, it's just for demonstration purposes, not a normal playthrough. And well, one other thing. So since he has a power of the Dragon Father, I equipped. Well, Cape of Silence is a very nice thing to counter like slow and haste, most importantly, I think. But also, I won't be able to apply Disrupting Ray to him with my sorceresses here, and they are just purely for just damage. And basically there is no reason for me not to use Cape of Silence. If I didn't have it, he's very likely to apply slow at some point, because he would not be able to spam a bunch of spells that he normally casts on himself, like Resurrection, Frenzy, like various buffs like Prayer, Shield, Air Shield, whatever. So many spells AI normally casts to buff its own units, and since he has immunity to all of them, his spell selection is actually much more narrow. And it means that it's way more likely to cast something like Slow, for example, even if this Slow is basically a meaningless spell. And so Cape of Silence gives you a little bit of at least certainty that he doesn't cast it, but obviously it means that I don't have Blast on my units. But I did not bring Pegasi here, so I worked to free up as much slots as I could. So my backup unit to apply blocks was Ghost Dragons before. Now Archdevils can do that, since I did not equip any speed buffs and they have the right speed. And I was able to add another shooter to my roster. This way we'll do a little bit more damage. And I did not get Muggles because they deal arrow damage. So basically, if I had them, AI would actually try to spread out its units from the beginning, basically, and would very likely to exit the castle. Here, my goal is to drain down both flyers a little bit, but not enough to make AI sacrifice titans for them. Next I will start draining titans. The goal is to decrease the number of flyers moving out after the sacrifice. Ideally, if AI sacrifices titans for the champions like it did before. But if I drain all 3 tier 7 units low enough, it should be relevant, and my Hydras will probably prevail in the upcoming brawl. Basically, at this point I'm trying to deal as much damage as possible without passing a threshold of an efficient sacrifice. Let's say if I kill like 100 dragons, or 150 dragons and 150 archangels. So let's say there are like 120 of each, and 250 titans. So basically, when AI considers sacrifice, it's pretty apparent that it's much more likely to pick archangels or golden dragons to sacrifice in favor of another, right? Instead of sacrificing 250 titans, right? So that was basically the idea there. And now I grind down titans, so that's at some point it's time to confront him. He might still as well sacrifice titans for champions, but it's really not something I'm very much concerned about. So even if he sacrifices them for the dragons, I am pretty sure I will be able to handle them very easy. And he would not be able would not have any other units to sacrifice for the dragons if he does it, right? So in my previous attempt, he ended up sacrificing titans for champions, and because of that, well, like here, he did it again. And because of that, he was theoretically able to later sacrifice champions for dragons, right? So I had to body block them. It was very, very important. But here, I mean, if he doesn't do that, and even back then as well, similar thing, then if he sacrifices 4 dragons, then basically he doesn't have any other sources to sacrifice, any other units to sacrifice for them later, and it means that that's just dragons, and well, I'm pretty sure my hydras are capable of dealing with them, like maybe with a couple of clone casts. Well, basically that's it. And as you can see, it's way easier. Maybe not easier, okay? So as I said, I swapped a skill for that. I think it might still be doable without this skill swap, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this demonstration. And it was maybe like a second attempt with the power of the Dragon Father, so it went way smoother than the original. In general, I would say it's much simpler because AI doesn't cast many spells that it would cast otherwise, like teleport is one of the annoying things, right? But also it requires a little bit more in terms of damage, so maybe a little bit more difficult as a result, but difficult in the sense that has maybe slightly higher requirements for you, but much easier in terms of the execution. We basically even won't be destroying towers here, just finish the fight. There we go. Nice and easy. That was Power of the Dragon version, basically. Okay, back to the original game. And I mean, I said back to the original game, but honestly, after you kill the king, there is not much else to do. There is just one obstacle on your way to victory. And those who play this map most definitely know what I mean. It's the garrison, anti-magic garrison defending Pink's town in the top right corner. And well, we'll go straight to it, because I know maybe it looks scary, but honestly it's actually a very easy garrison. for Tazar at least. Obviously, a different hero will maybe have a much worse experience. Tazar with his specialty, level 42 specialty means that his armor at this point reduces all damage by 46%. That's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. That's in addition to his defense. Obviously, against neutrals at this point, you have maximum defense efficiency, that's 70% reduction. So Tazar is doing pretty good here. But I think it still should be a very doable fight for any other hero as well. I mean, not any other hero of comparable strength, obviously. Maybe would result in slightly higher losses, but at this point you can sacrifice some units in order to win. That's not a problem. So at this point, there are a few things in addition to this garrison and basically 3 towns that are available to the pink player from the beginning, and that's a bunch of small pink heroes, which I mentioned maybe like in parts 1, 2. And also this conflicts town, obviously, that it took some time ago. So more or less I want to use my secondary, well, not secondary, but I mean secondary heroes. Dracon, who else? Adrian, Stig, Hart, etc. to take out remaining pink heroes that are at least weak enough. There are maybe 1 or 2 pink heroes that are relatively strong. They're weak for Tazar, so Tazar would have dealt with them very easily, but other heroes would have a little bit of trouble, let's say. And I sent, I did not pay attention, whom? Possibly Heart Leech towards to fetch leprechauns next week. So my next quest is to bring 150 leprechauns, and it gives me 300, or maybe not this one. I think this one gives me 18 fairy dragons, and I don't care about them. And I also don't care about the next quest that gives me 300 wyverns, which is actually pretty decent. But what I do care about is that the quest after that asks me to kill the king and gives me a dimension door. So that's why I wanna do that quest. It will help me clear the map a little bit faster. Not sure why did I cast Resurrect there. I thought that maybe I am just checking if I have more than 1 unit damage. Okay, first Resurrection cast was obviously a minor mistake. This hero is not particularly strong, and that's basically why I hired some of the Cove units. So my plan is to basically use my other heroes to deal with this hero, and also left a few items here to make it a little bit easier, let's say. Thanks to the contributions of the king. Double the mana before the fight, and I'll leave his army in the garrison so that this pink hero, even if maybe it's unlikely that my army can scare him, it's still possible, so I want to avoid that. Want him to come and attack me. there is one hero here, as you can see on the surface, that came later, and he's actually decent in strength. But those weaker ones can be dealt by anyone really, and this my Cove army is actually more than capable of doing it without much trouble. It has a very high interference, as you can see. I won't be explaining much of this fight. I think it's still kind of a decent fight for what it's worth. But you can see for yourself, I think. One thing that worth mentioning is that I close my shooters like this to make sure that he doesn't teleport anything inside. I don't mind casting Bless every turn, as long as he casts Curse every turn. Works for me. And one final Naga left. Very scary. So she barely reaches and still has movement to town portal. Okay, he didn't have time to wait for the leprechauns. We'll have to send someone later. suicidal snakes. You didn't have enough of one retaliation, wanted to get another one. Okay, there is this stronger hero in the dungeon. He's a little bit too strong for Dracon, I think. Well, I mean, maybe I could try hard it out, or like struggle it out, I don't know. But I just didn't really want to complicate unnecessarily like secondary fights, more or less. So basically that's the final I mean, I wouldn't say it's a difficult fight. Okay, you'll see. It looks scary, maybe. That's true. I can understand that, but it's not at all difficult, especially for Tazar. Okay, so equip for maximum debuffs, and the auto combat dealt fairly well. I mean, I didn't really pay attention. Maybe not really well, but I think like most Hydras probably survived, maybe most Gorgons as well. If I had to guess. Interesting, the sorceresses actually apply debuffs here. I didn't know that. I thought that anti-magic garrison only, like, maybe even by mistake works for set artifacts. Interesting. Wonder if same is true for the Orb of Inhibition. Would be interesting to know as well. God damn. Those champions, it's turn 5 right now, and they only made one move out of 5. Damn, they're not very lucky, okay? They... That's also negative luck, okay. That's pretty funny. Maybe should have removed retaliation from Titans, I don't know, with the Wyverns. Or maybe not. It's fine. Either way, it's basically not much difference in terms of losses. I mean, I preserved the most valuable units for the most part. And lost dragons, and I don't really care for 5 Azure dragons. And most wyverns, but that's about it. Don't really care about them as well. There are a couple of heroes. There is a hero camp on the right side. Yeah, we could just as well auto-combat these things at this point. Maybe ballista would be nice from below, or tent as well, to enable hydras for a multi-hit. I wouldn't hit this. Hydras would most definitely kill everyone there, but Gorgons also. Population doubles. I'm not sure why author did not disable this plague double population thing. I'm trying to understand where the hell this one came from. Even after a second time, I didn't really catch. And it looks as if it was the hero that was next to this town, so... Which is I mean, that's weird, okay? It's a pretty long distance. Hydra split is not particularly helpful here, as you can imagine. Okay, time to get rid of the big pink hero here. Now with full army, obviously, it won't be too difficult to deal with him. What a move, dude. Gee, AI sometimes just can't stop surprising. What was this? It looked as if they got stuck in a quicksand. If only it wasn't a grasslands fight and they were not a flyer. That's hilarious. Or maybe my Gorgons were blinded at this point. Maybe that's why. Actually did not really pay attention. Maybe that's why he didn't attack. If that's why, okay, it makes some sense. Elixir of Life. That's not bad. Although, no matter if it's good or bad, I won't need it. Okay, that's hilarious actually. I remember cracking up at this point when I realized that I hired upgraded gnolls. Maybe I'm trying to do too many things there. I'm staring at it, trying to remember everything, and then maybe I should just do one thing. Maybe two. Remember two, hire them, then do the same for the rest. Kind of how it is supposed to work for a not very smart person. Yeah. Okay, second attempt. And I was saved by the fact that they were not upgraded there, so that's a lesson for you. Don't upgrade all of your dwellings, okay? This way you will be able to hire all unupgraded units if you need, okay? At least in some of your towns. even if you forget about the fact that you can hire unupgraded from upgraded dwellings. Some masterclass reasoning. Read a couple of heroes. That was annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Running around trying to catch them all is not the type of fun I'm hoping for. I think I shouldn't go for the stables, and I probably am doing the same calculation here. So I might as well just go and take a castle from pink. Okay, there is no hero left. And I think they can't get here, which is quite important. Unless they town portal to the tower, so... I mean, it's not important. At this point, it doesn't matter. But it's a little bit of a... I forgot the word. A bit of a relief, I guess. Oh, finally. Auto combat victory. And there is a stables on the way. It's much better even. A couple of other boosts, so we can actually even kill a few more heroes. No way. Just do the auto combat. Although, frankly, it's beyond me how auto combat doesn't get lossless. There we go, you can do that, buddy. You can do that. Finally. There are a couple of smaller garrisons, like this one. But, I mean... obviously, even less of a problem to go through them, if you can go through the big one. But you can... if you kill the king, you can just fly over this too. Or dimension door over. Pick your preference. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a shocking surprise. Something I completely forgot. Emergency um, emergency call back of many heroes. Team Alpha alert. We need 16 rogues right now. Gather the X-Men. Oh, finally, I did not replay that. That's a good sign. Means that this video is gonna end soon. Okay, Pink has just one more town left, and I will just use the same portal to reach it. After that, there are still a couple more Pink heroes. Okay, scanning the map without having cast view air. That's very, very quote-unquote good decision. Yeah, staring at black screen also. Very good, okay. Okay, I realized that something was off. Something was off. Okay, that's good. That it did not take too long. Good job, me. There is one hero to the south, and then there are... I noticed a couple of heroes on the surface in the middle of the map. So since Pink player lost all towns now, he's on the timer, 7 days. So he's dead. There is no landing spot. unfortunate. How did he get here? I just wonder. Or maybe he didn't come through here. I mean, how? Maybe he used water walk? Maybe. Stop, don't go. Don't leave me here alone on this scary island. So there is one hero I forgot about. There is one actually hero, this one. It's a static hero like the ones that are in the underground. So he's actually something I forgot about. Okay, this one went underground, apparently. Somewhere here. I'm gonna find it somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Okay, buddy, you didn't get to hide from me. Tazar is flexing his stats. Not bad. Actually, surprisingly dealt a lot of damage. I did not expect him to do that well. Dessa will have to go through this garrison. But it's the easiest one, and it's not even deserving a manual combat at this point. Okay, one more. No, was it? There was one hero on a boat, right? Or Ron. I remember one hero on the island, the one I mentioned, but is that it? It's just one? No, right? This Unbroken or whoever. I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of those that I killed just now. One was Honor, that's killed by Dessa. And another was Valor or something like this. Or Honor was killed by Tazar. And Dessa killed another one that looks also not like Unbroken. There we go. There we go, you. Why couldn't you appear next to one of my towns? I just don't understand, dude. Anyway, I think we are just about to wrap up. Just 2 heroes left, and both are basically nothing to write a letter about. So we'll wrap up. I think that's a pretty good map. I mean, Koget is known for his Devil is in the Detail. A great map. And I definitely enjoyed this one. Enemies are boosted, so makes for somewhat of a challenge. It was more interesting, I would say, in the beginning when I still did not have resurrection, but even back then I wouldn't say that I was spending too much time on fights against enemy heroes. And final boss was actually interesting, but also I complicated the fight for myself a little bit. I could have just, in the original version, in the one that I started, the one without the power of the Dragon Father, I could just get an orb of vulnerability, and I knew where it was. And I could just use the blind, and it would make the fight actually very unimpressive in my opinion. But the fight with the armor is obviously more interesting than using the blind. And I hope you will be able to apply the strategy I used. If you obviously want to use it, it's up to you. Or at least you maybe will find it useful. At least. So I don't know. It's a pretty cool map in general. Liked the starved resources in the beginning. It's kind of a new thing. A bit too much maybe micromanagement of your heroes because of that. And I like micromanagement, but in general I prefer if it's more about logistics than, or like multi-pronged expansion, not like visiting resource silos, etc. So it's a bit new though. I wouldn't say I did not like it. It's a new experience, so it's not something I would complain about, definitely. But as always, I will publish my review later, so please also tune in for that. And thanks for watching. Please leave your feedback in the comments below, as usual, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.